Good evening. I call to order the regular meeting of the Lakewood City Council on June 9th at 7:03 p.m. To connect with the council meeting online, please use one of the following links, either lakewoodspeaks.org or lakewood.org/council videos. For online public comments, you may post those comments at any length on lakewoodspeaks.org. That is our online forum for public comments. We are leaving that forum open this evening and will be open through tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. for anyone that would like to leave comments after the meeting. Or for those of you that are here that may decide that you're not wanting to get up in front of everybody and want to speak your piece online, that's an option too. Anyone who would like to address the city will be given the opportunity during public comment. We've got a couple of, three different places of public comment in tonight's meeting. Just a reminder that the City Council is a limited public forum, so there are certain opportunities to speak on certain items. For one of them will be on the consent agenda specifically, and we do have general public comment that will kick us off in a few minutes, and a second round of general public comment in the latter part of the evening. Anyone who would like to address the city will be given the opportunity on non-agenda items during general public comment, and then you can speak to the resolutions on the consent agenda when we get to that point in our meeting. With that, will our Assistant City Clerk please start us with calling the roll?
Certainly, Mayor. Mayor Strom?
Here.
Councilor LeBure is absent. Councilor Ryan?
Here.
Councilor Cruz K?
Here.
Councilor Mayotte Guerrero?
Here.
Councilor Charzai?
Here.
Councilor Sinks?
Here.
Councilor Cruz I? Here. Councilor Lowe?
Here.
Councilor Furman?
Here.
And Councilor Nystrom.
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Okay, thank you so much. And if you are able, now is the time I would ask you to join us. Please stand and join us with the Pledge of Allegiance. Afterwards, I'll remain standing for a moment of silence or silent prayer.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All members of the City Council have the responsibility to comply with the terms of Charter 7.2B and excuse themselves from voting on any matter in which they determine they have a personal, financial, or business interest. The City Council is empowered by Charter 7.2B to agree by a unanimous vote. Did I skip a line? Sorry about that, you guys. I'm going to start over. All members of the City Council have the responsibility to comply with the terms of Charter 7.2B and excuse themselves from voting on any matter in which they determine they have a personal, financial, or business interest. The City Council is empowered by Charter 7.2B to agree by unanimous vote, excluding the member at issue, to excuse any member of the council from voting on a matter in which they determine such member has a personal, financial, or business interest. To start our meeting off this evening, we do have a proclamation that will be read by our counselor, Ward 1 Counselor Glenda Sinks.
And I'm so excited to read this. Pride Month 2025, whereas the City Council of the City of Lakewood proclaims the month of June 2025 as Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender, and Queer Pride Month in recognition of the fact that all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. And whereas the LGBTQ plus individuals have had an immeasurable impact on the cultural, civic, and economic successes of this community, state, and nation. And whereas this nation was founded on the principle that every individual has infinite dignity and worth, and the City Council calls upon the people of Lakewood to embrace this principle and work to eliminate prejudice everywhere it exists. And whereas the City of Lakewood is committed to supporting visibility, dignity, and equality for LGBTQ plus people in our diverse community. And whereas while society at large increasingly supports LGBTQ equality, it is essential to acknowledge that the need for education and awareness remains vital to end discrimination and prejudice against members of the LGBTQ plus community. And whereas celebrating Pride Month influences awareness and provides support and advocacy for the city's LGBTQ plus community, and is an opportunity to take action and engage in dialogue to strengthen alliances, build acceptance, and advance equal rights.
Now, therefore, on behalf of the City Council and the people of the City of Lakewood, I, Wendy Strom, Mayor of the City of Lakewood, Colorado, by virtue of the authority vested in me, do hereby proclaim June 2025 as Pride Month. Thank you. And I didn't realize we had such a gifted reader up here. I should, as a former teacher. So thank you, Counselor Sanks. All right, and with that, we will go ahead and open up our first session of general public comment. So this is the first point in tonight's meeting where the public is invited to address the City Council on items that are not on the agenda. This initial period of public comment allows for up to 10 speakers to provide comment on any matter other than an agenda item, and will prioritize those with special needs. Speaking during the initial period of public comment does require signing up to speak with the city clerk in advance of the meeting tonight. There is no pooling of time during initial public comment period. The goal of public comment is to create an environment that welcomes all stakeholders to share their thoughts and concerns. Whether your comments are left on Lakewood Speaks or here in chambers, I do ask that all comments be directed to the City Council, that anyone in attendance respect the decorum of council chambers and refrain from audible applause or discord with the speaker. It's very important that people feel comfortable coming up and saying what they feel. So let's please give them that opportunity. The purpose of this time tonight is for us to hear from you. This is a listen-only session. If you'd like to engage in a conversation with your counselors, staff, or myself, you may do so via phone, scheduled office visits, or by email. For anyone attending virtually, again, we do have lakewoodspeaks.org open until 10 a.m. tomorrow. You can also leave comments there. For those that are approaching to give public comment, if you do have any handouts, I would ask you to please leave them with the Assistant City Clerk, and she will make sure those get distributed to council after tonight's meeting. Also a reminder that this is public comment. We do ask that there's no campaigning that occurs within public comment, and that we keep your comments directed specifically to council, and let's keep it civil, shall we? All righty. With that, I do have 10 speakers for this evening. We'll start off, we've got Regina Hopkins, then Patrick Fox, and then Brad Bruce.
Regina Hopkins, Ward 5. I liked what you said, Glenda, about dignity and worth in the proclamation. And what I'm wondering is, what is it going to take for our voices, my voice in particular, to be actually heard and respected in this city? I am angry. I am frustrated. I have been here for over 2 years, again and again and again, speaking to you about the Belmar Park fiasco that has ensued. On May 12th and May 28th, nearly 70 protected trees have been cut down, ground up, cut at their base, and put into industrial grinders as if they were trash. And that's how I feel, you all feel about me and many of us citizens in this community. Why do I say that you treat us like trash? Just look at what just happened, the Bend Project. You all approved a 15 acre site of contaminated soil that you've approved to be the contaminants released into the air. These have carcinogens in them. You treat our wildlife like they mean nothing. Our protected trees that are supposed to be of an 8-inch caliper are supposed to be preserved and protected according to your own ordinances. You're ignoring that. And what happened on that site devastated this entire community. I am traumatized. I can't even go back to that park. It was my favorite park in all of Lakewood, and you all, and especially Kathy Hodgins and Travis Parker, the ringleaders of this fiasco, need to be held accountable for this. You all are rubber stamping whatever they're telling you. You're supposed to represent the will of the people, not them and the developers. This has become a city run by developers, for developers, all for developers. You're putting profit over people. This needs to stop. And that there is something really crazy that's happening in Lakewood politics. You all are riding on the laurels of democracy, to the Democratic vote, this being a blue state. I find it absolutely absurd that independents, centrists, and even conservatives and Republicans are more environmentally friendly than you. I used to align with the Democratic Party. I'm going to switch teams because you all are not representing the will of the people, the environment, habitats, what we care about, and our quality of life here in Lakewood. This has upset an entire community of people. It's not just me. I can't go back to this park, and many other people can't go back to this park that I have spoken to. This has been one of the biggest betrayals Lakewood has ever seen. You just stood by while our wildlife was destroyed and handed them the chainsaws. That's how I see it. You've broken our trust and your credibility while repeatedly claiming your hands are tied. But the truth is, you all were the only ones who didn't have your hands tied. And Kathy Hodgins, you need to step down with cause. I don't want her getting her bonus this year. Her and Travis Parker have really messed up this town, and you all have contributed to the destruction and betrayal of our entire community.
Patrick Fox.
Good evening, guys. I hope you're having a good day. From what I understand, I was assaulted yet again on the solid ground property on 7272 Patrick Fox, Ward 2, off 14th and Wadsworth. The place has become a haven for gangs, drugs, and prostitutes. This is something I see on a daily basis since the building is open. This has been going on before the building ever broke ground, believe it or not. So this building was meant to represent a place for trauma victims and drug addicts who are recovering. The building has become a safe haven also for the aspects of those people doing drugs. Do you understand? So they're bringing the corruption, the crime, the prostitution, the disrespectful behavior that comes with that lifestyle into a building of 40, which, mind you, is pretty high pressure with all the mental and other stuff that goes on. Me being assaulted, I was assaulted in broad daylight. They chased me down with their gun, and they tried to take my bicycle, where I altercated and fought two of them who would, I believe, in your culture would call bloods. Do you understand? Almost soon after that, I have stated I was a prophet. There are consequences for harming a spiritual leader in those aspects. Do you understand that? Do we all need to Google this? Ask Google what harming a prophet is. It's kind of the thing that happened with the genocide in Boulder, or the terrorist attack, as we call it. You get me? So I will say that certain situations of the spiritual realm ain't very happy either, and hence why your guys' situation has been more conflicted since I got here. It almost seems like because it's not really going to plan. You see where I'm going? You're all being lied to, and the people are being lied to and bamboozled by all the propaganda and media. I've stated this before. You were just poisoning us with Cheetos. You understand? I will use even your own logic when you say we are not educated as a people in politics. I will say my people are not really educated in these things at all. I believe a lot of these problems come from California, the migration of that, the migrants that Democrats led in, and on the Democratic system, you guys were starving me on my food stamps because I didn't agree with you all. This is a fact in Colorado. You were starving me because I didn't agree with the political opinion and system. This is what was going on in Jeffco Human Services, guys. So when I'm putting that into perspective, and you got the outside sources like China who are monopolizing your property and buying your farmland. This is what we call espionage. They're invading us from the inside in. And the people who assaulted me all were wearing Bulls jerseys. Sure, California is regretting those aspects. This is why migrants, do you understand, would have to follow due process because they don't respect our systems at all. This is a proof of all this going on. Other than that, guys, I'm not going to get into relate, but from what I see, this is a situation we all as a country need to be managing with a better eye and a better equity. Other than that, I'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
And no hot tub, Mom.
Brad Bruce, then Crystal Ray, then Jerry Coffey.
Hi, my name is Brad Bruce. I live in Ward 2. I'm here to urge the City Council to condemn the deployment of 2,000 California National Guardsmen and 700 active duty Marines into Los Angeles against the wishes or requests of California state and local officials for the first time since 1965. If you didn't already know, I need each and every one of you to accept that fascism has arrived in this country. The constant violence that this country has perpetrated on the rest of the world for the last few decades has finally been turned inwards onto us. Masked secret agents are coming into our communities and snatching people off the street without warrant and without due process. The military is being deployed to control U.S. citizens practicing their First Amendment rights. Judges and union leaders are being arrested and charged with federal crimes for attempting to stand up for the rights of people who live in this country. And every federal social safety net is being gutted to save billionaires more money, and so more of our tax dollars are funneled into the military-industrial complex to help Israel commit a genocide and to arm federal agents who are terrorizing U.S. citizens. Our federal representatives in Congress are at best complicit by voting in favor of many of these actions and the Trump administration appointments, and they also don't seem particularly interested in holding the executive office accountable for any of their crimes so far. Our state representatives have no power because the state legislative session only lasts for a few months, and our county officials are useless on the best of days and downright malignant the rest of the time. That unfortunately leaves just this council to represent the constituents of this city. If any of you have deluded yourselves into thinking that staying silent about the horrors of this administration will somehow protect this city, it will not. They won't come for Lakewood first. Yesterday, their target was Palestinians and immigrants. Today, it's Los Angeles. Tomorrow, it'll be New York and Chicago. And next week, it'll be Denver. And once they come for everyone else, then they will come for us. And that is how authoritarians throughout history have always operated. We are just 20 miles from the ICE facility in Aurora. Staying silent while our neighbors and fellow Americans lose their liberties and freedoms will do nothing but guarantee that no one speaks up for when we ourselves are targeted. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And while this council is the only body that can represent the interests of us at this moment in time, I'll be honest, I have not been super enthusiastic about your performance over the last year and a half. In fact, in some cases, you have been playing directly into the hands of a future authoritarian government, such as last year when you approved the use of red light and traffic cameras in Lakewood, the same type of systems that ICE is now gaining illegal access to track their suspects in sanctuary jurisdictions all across the country, based on reporting from The Guardian. Thankfully, the city has not yet approved the deployment of these insecure monitoring systems, and I urge you to overturn the approval of traffic systems in Lakewood. I realize that many of you probably didn't sign up for this job thinking that things would get this dire, but unfortunately they have, and it's up to you all to be leaders through these difficult and dangerous times. I'll leave you with a short poem by German pastor Martin Niemeyer. First, they came from the communists, and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then I came for trade unionists. I'll stop right there. Sorry.
Thank you. Crystal Ray?
Hi, thank you, council members and mayor. I am here on behalf of Ward 3 residents,
And I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening, or to read this evening. I'm not speaking from my own words. I'm delivering these comments on behalf of Tom Dirth, who is not able to be here tonight. He penned these remarks. These remarks reflect the deep concern and frustration shared by many in our community regarding the decision to approve a 411-unit apartment complex adjacent to our cherished bird sanctuary park. This park is more than just open space. It's vital wildlife habitat, a place of solace for residents, and a defining part of our community and our neighborhood's character. The scale and the location of this development threatened not only fragile ecosystems, but also the quality of daily life for nearby residents, particularly older adults who rely on peace, safety, and accessibility. Those elected to serve have a responsibility to listen, to advocate for the people who live here, and to protect what makes this community livable. In this case, that responsibility seems to have been set aside in favor of outside development interest. The overwhelming public opposition has been met with indifference, and that reality has left many feeling disregarded and disappointed. Years of noise, traffic, limited parking, and environmental disruption will take its toll. The concerns raised about safety, congestion, and loss of green space, deserved more weight and respect in the decision-making process. It has become clear that this community is watching. Votes are being noted, engagement is growing. When the constituents are consistently overlooked, accountability becomes a central focus. The aim going forward is to support leadership that reflects community values, leadership that defends neighborhoods instead of sacrificing them. The issue is far from over. The community is organized, active, and committed to ensuring future elections are shaped by those who truly represent the will and the well-being of the people. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Jerry Coffey, then we have Kelly Tannenbaum, and then Nick Munden.
Hi. I imagine none of you want to hear more about Belmont Park's impact from this enormous 6-foot lot line to lot line development. I have heard from you guys that you think we're mean to you, and that the public is, and mean to the staff and the council. We have been ignored and shut down. We have been placated, but not respected. How should we talk to you? Would you listen then? I can assure you, I am not alone. Over the last 2 years, many citizens have spoken out and asked for your help to mitigate the impact of this 777 Yarrow development. 8,000 petitioners were sandbagged while you all finished weakless and powerlessness. You said you have no choice. It's a done deal. Your hands are tied. It's not legal, and even your attorney could not offer any creative help. You accused the people who signed the petition of not being smart. I watched from Zoom meetings, I read articles, and I talked with citizens. The rules of public comment were adjusted to discourage people from waiting till midnight to speak publicly. Bottom line is, you refuse to acknowledge the public the expert speakers that came, and even a scientist who spoke from Cornell University. The public asked for a town hall. It never happened. You couldn't even explain your mantra. It's a done deal. Couldn't explain why, couldn't talk to the people. It literally today made me sick when I walked that east boundary of Belmar Park, and it's not done yet. It's only the beginning of the sickness. Maybe none of you have ever enjoyed what peace can be found in nature, but each of you claim to be climate and sustainability advocates. You campaigned on the merits of protecting the environment, attaining high walkability scores and advocacy against sprawl, and a part of all this was your commitments. But you screwed the pooch on this decision. Not protecting Belmar Park does not prevent sprawl. It's still sprawling out there, guys. Have you seen Sterling Ranch out there? It's still happening. Killing Belmar doesn't prevent that.
Your
When
time
you
is up,
destroy the
Ms.
crown
Coffey.
jewel, the remaining natural habitat in Belmar's downtown,
Ms. Coffey,
you have
your time
lost
is
one
up.
of Lakewood's unique appeals. It is our heritage.
Thank you. Kelly Tannenbaum, then Nick Munden, then David Aguirre.
Hello. My name is Kelly Tannenbaum. I'm a philosopher, political scientist, and a Sami direct descendant. I ask that we acknowledge the missing, murdered, and indigenous sisters and peoples, as over 58 sovereign nations hold ancestral territory to this land now called Colorado. The genocide does continue. I study ontological, phenomenological, metaphysical, and geospatial properties of culturally modified trees. Many of the trees that were destroyed by blood-drunk developer Kairoy were CMTs. History, social memories, human movement, and more were desecrated and destroyed on land that holds records through Historic Preservation Act in the federal government that specifically mentions the trees as well. Scientific data, and I do have the articles here if you all are interested in seeing them. Scientific data from the urban forestry and urban greening outlines tree roots are increasing water infiltration by 53 to 330%. Saturation infiltration by 89 to 2,167%. This is water moving into your aquifers, your drinking water. Mature trees with deep root systems improve infiltration as the roots provide centuries-old tunnel systems filtering the water as it moves into the aquifers. Trees prevent runoff, flooding, and erosion, which is kind of fifth grade science. I quote, "Soil, porosity, and bulk density, the two most important factors that affect soil infiltration below the 15 centimeters, became increasingly unfavorable to infiltration as the soil depth increased, which could be counterbalanced by the root systems." Also, soil infiltration, one of the most important processes of a hydrological cycle, can affect groundwater recharge, water conservation, surface runoff, all of which are related to ecological security. Urbanization, concrete payments for soil compaction often greatly limit soil infiltration and increase runoff and flooding, not allowing normal and sufficient water recharge, which often causes water shortages, therefore improving the urban soil. Infiltration rate is particularly important for urban water circulation. Root secretions and exfoliations provide nutrition to the microorganisms, increasing viability. The soil organisms can also loosen the soil to facilitate infiltration. We all know that we have heavy, dense clay soils in Colorado. Tree roots have a strong conductance, which can quickly move surface water into dry soil, thus reducing runoff and of course, flooding. Second article, a grant supported by the U.S. Forest Service studied stormwater management, citing the importance of tree canopies.
Ms.
Rainwater
Tannenbaum, your
is
time
stored
is
in the
up.
canopies. Do you want me to finish in the next session or at the end?
You can only speak at one time, but if you wanted to put something on Lakewood Speaks, if you would like to do the rest there, you can do that.
Okay, there's just one more thing that I need to mention, and I know I'm out of time, so I apologize. I want to say that you've caused untold degradation and intense destabilization to the foundation of homes for this luxury apartment development. The biodiversity of the urban environment, and unfortunately, I don't have time to talk about the atmospheric particle retention and deposition, the tree branches, needles, leaves that block human inhalation, which is also going to cause an increase in health cost for your residents. Inclusive is not only the town of Lakewood, but also
Ms.
Littleton,
Tannenbaum, I'm
Arvada,
sorry, I need to
Denver,
ask you to wrap
Englewood,
up.
and other surrounding cities. So you have really cost your citizens a lot more money for water filtration systems. The lack of water, you've increased our drought. Thanks.
Thank you. Nick Munden, then David Aguirre, and then Chris Fisher, and we'll finish with Chris Geisbuller.
Good evening, City Council and citizens of Lakewood. My name is Nicholas Munden. I ask you today if you are listening, if you hear what we are saying. Are you able to think independently? Over half of Lakewood renters spend more than 30% of their income on rent, forcing low-income families to choose between paying rent or daycare. Some have enabled and offered the homeless help. Some have coined the phrase, keep Colfax on Colfax. I choose progress over all and for all. Homelessness is up by 10%, and that's just from those who participated in a snapshot in January. I would estimate these numbers are grossly underestimated. Have any of the City Council members experienced homelessness? Have you had the pleasure of staying a night in a shelter? I have. Jobs and a cold beer does not solve the problem of homelessness. Addressing the root causes like addiction, mental health, and unfair prejudicial housing practices towards felons is a step in the right direction. We need real community-based solutions. We are your brothers, sisters, daughters, sons, and soldiers. Not all who wander are lost. They just need to find their way home. You have rushed into a comprehensive plan that should be argued as not very comprehensive. You should align yourself with upcoming legislation, as I have stated multiple times now. I believe in being proactive instead of reactive. A current example would be the current lawsuit involving the trees. Why didn't you consider anything towards the ecosystem or sustainability? We need new creative insight to diverse problems. I hope that you are listening to the public and making proactive changes. I have always seen Lakewood as forward thinking. Our bias towards the tried and true is so strong we overlook new and different. Our love affair with ancient solutions leads us away from progress. We need to recognize this moment as an opportunity to enrich lives in our community. Policies, economics, and technology have always failed to address these issues with old thinking. The ways that got us here will not get us out. It's time to stop using temporary solutions for real, permanent, and potentially finite problems. We need to courageously seek universal fairness to our community and laws. Let us not forget laws required only when humanity fails. Our decency and humanity should ensure that children don't go to bed hungry, the elderly have care, the sick are tended to, and our youth are educated. The role of government is limited by the virtue and character of the men and women who make up that government. Does Lakewood's elected and appointed officials reflect that of its community? You simply cannot bandage problems like homelessness, addiction, sustainability, and infrastructure. The world is desperately in need of change. We can agree on that. The question is, what are you willing to do about it? Plants and animals flourish when they have a healthy and natural environment. The same concept applies with a person and a community as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Thank you all for having me here today. My name is David Aguirre, and I work for Congresswoman Brittany Pedersen, who represents Colorado's 7th Congressional District. Colorado is currently facing an affordable housing crisis. Rep. Pedersen is working to make sure everyone in Lakewood has access to affordable places to live. As a member of the House Subcommittee on Housing and Insurance, she's focused on making housing more affordable and increasing pathways to homeownership. One of her top priorities is bringing Republicans and Democrats together to increase housing supply and make sure no one is pushed out of the community that they call home. Our biggest challenge is that the housing supply has not kept up with demand. In Colorado, we are short over 100,000 homes and apartments than what's needed, the second worst shortage in the nation. Addressing the issue requires a comprehensive approach, and Representative Pedersen has supported legislation to increase housing tax credits to build more affordable housing, reintroduced a bipartisan bill to bring together experts to develop best practices in zoning land use policies to better support local governments in increasing housing supply. And she has also led legislation to promote better access to VA mortgages for veterans. Colorado is also facing a wildfire, coming up on our wildfire season. And since 2015, the United States has experienced, on average, 100 more large wildfires every year than the year before. And in total, 2,500 homes in Colorado have been lost due to fires in the past 20 years. Climate change is driving the devastating intersection of extreme heat, drought, and wildfire danger across the United States. To tackle some of these issues, Representative Pedersen organized a wildfire advisory council made up of community leaders and constituents most impacted by wildfires. She's working with her colleagues on both sides of the aisle to protect our communities from wildfires and help impacted families recover. She has also led H.R. 3295, the Shelter Act, which will provide a tax credit to help families and businesses protect their properties from wildfire and other natural disasters. Something that's been in the news lately is the One Big Beautiful Bill. The U.S. House of Representatives passed a Republican budget proposal at the end of May, and Representative Pedersen voted against that bill. As it stands, this bill slashes Medicaid, cuts food assistance programs, and raises health care costs for working families, all while adding trillions to the public deficit. The legislation would rip away health care from 14 million Americans. While the bill is currently in the Senate and many specific provisions will be subject to change, Representative Pedersen and our office are monitoring the status of the bill, and we will continue to work for representing our district in Washington. Currently, upcoming, we have a veteran pinning ceremony. Representative Pedersen will be hosting a veteran pinning ceremony to recognize Vietnam War veterans who served in the U.S. Armed Forces during the period from November 1st, 1955 and May 15th, 1975. If you have any questions, please contact our office at 303-274-7944. And I'm short on time, so if you're facing any difficulties with the federal agency, EPA, DOD, IRS, USCIS, please reach out to our office. Thank you all for having me.
Thank you. Chris Fisher.
Hello, Madam Mayor and esteemed members of City Council. For those of you that remember me, I attended our last City Council meeting, and for those that remember, was quite floored with the response that we were receiving in our northern Lakewood neighborhood after a burglary that occurred in my home back in April. I had a lot to say about the Lakewood Police Department and Chief Smith personally. At this point, I would like to recant my previous statements about Chief Smith and to note that there has been some level of response that keeps me hopeful. However, I do want to note that the amount of vagrancy in the area has become unmanageable. Frequently during the late hours of the night, we have several groups of people along the northern end of the Wadsworth Light Rail Station that are utilizing several areas hidden from street view but still within public throughways owned and operated by the City of Lakewood. I'm here to request change in the form of funding or projects to better light the neighborhoods surrounding the Wadsworth Station on both the north and south ends, as well as to request traffic cameras that can better capture the activity and help discourage drug use in this area. The vagrancy in the area has gone from including mostly just people down on their luck to what is now violent offenders causing untold ruin and creating victims in your city, an epidemic, if you will. We need to take a firm stance on trying to discourage the drug use in the area. On top of what I had just mentioned, this can be done by requesting stricter enforcement by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. Please remember that we are the ones that keep this local government running. not the people in this area committing crimes. We are your partners. And since I do note that I have a couple of seconds here, I will just say, I appreciate you reaching back out to me. I appreciate you reaching back out to me. You guys have been really helpful, so.
Thank you. Chris Geisbuehler? Did I get better that time?
No, you did well. Most people don't even try, so I appreciate you even trying. Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. I'm happy to be able to do that. So, I had posted this online, and then because I didn't think I was going to be able to make it to the meeting, but I ended up making it to the meeting. So the first sentence that says I won't be able to attend is wrong. But I wanted to take some time to make it known, under no uncertain terms, how incredibly frustrated and disappointed I am in Lakewood's governance with respect to their gross mishandling of the Kairoy development in Belmar Park, including their willful disregard of well-founded and well-substantiated resident outrage associated with the development plans. I know it's always better to be diplomatic, but I am downright angry. And my anger is completely justified. Anger is a boundary defense. It's a good thing. It alerts one to dangers that present a personal threat. You may be surprised that I consider your actions to be a threat, but I do. Your actions are a threat to the physical and emotional well-being of Lakewood residents and park visitors, and to the diverse wildlife of Belmar Park. Your actions have already had and will have in perpetuity a destructive impact on the wildlife and environmental ecosystem of Belmar Park, resulting from the removal of over 60 mature trees that have offset carbon, cleaned, humidified, and cooled our air, that have dampened the relentless noise from Wadsworth Boulevard, and that have soothed the stress of park visitors for decades. The size and location of this development, that is grossly out of scale with any other buildings in the area, introduces great risk to area residents and park visitors by exacerbating already present traffic hazards and by making the park less accessible for handicapped visitors and for long-held and ever-growing city events. In addition to your actions totally disregarding the intentions of the generous donation of the parkland by May Bonfils Stanton, your actions now serve as a threat that you intend to continue to ignore input from Lakewood residents. Lakewood's governance has blatantly ignored the city's comprehensive plan, setting an ugly precedent that will open a flood of development in or adjacent to every open space park in Lakewood. This will spread the destruction and further the disrespect of Lakewood's residents by allowing developers to take the easy and less expensive route by adopting existing parks rather than improving the derelict areas of the city begging for redevelopment. The spin doctors try to sell this development as meeting housing needs, but attaching properties to parklands allows developers to build, market, and price the properties as luxury housing, when what we need is affordable housing. Our parks are paid for with our tax dollars. You should not have the right to destroy them. I am not in favor of a corrupt city government that seems to think it's okay to ignore its residents and the city's comprehensive plan that is intended to compel compliance by developers, not to simply suggest some nice-to-haves if we can somehow persuade the developer to show the residents some kindness. I am so disgusted.
Your time is up.
I'm very disappointed.
Your time is up. I'm sorry.
Angry. As angry as I can show that I am.
Thank you.
Thank you for hearing me out.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, everybody. And we will have another period of non-agenda public comment, general public comment in the latter part of this evening. And with that, we will go ahead and move on to tonight's consent agenda. Before we do, I'd like to hand the floor over to our city manager, Kathy Hodson.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'm so excited tonight to be able to introduce our new Public Works Director. This is Maria DeAndrea, and I'm going to ask her to talk just a little bit about her education and her experience. Welcome, Maria.
Yes, thank you so much. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I'm so excited to be here tonight and introduce myself. My background, I am a civil engineer. I grew up in the Minneapolis area, and so pretty much my entire 30-year career has been in local government for the most part. So first working in 2 suburbs of Minneapolis, and then for the last 20 years, out here in the Denver metro area. I have been the Director of Public Works for 3 other communities here along the Front Range. And I'm just very excited to be with the City of Lakewood and lead the Public Works team for great things going forward. Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah. Well, thanks. Nice job.
All right, as we refer to the consent agenda, Council, do we have any items that anyone wishes to pull from the consent agenda this evening? Nope. Okay. Will the city clerk please read tonight's very short consent agenda into the record?
Bear with me, I will make my attempt. Item 5A, O-2025-19, accepting an application to adjust the operational service area of the City of Lakewood Water Utility to include and extend water service to the property located at 5490 West 13th Avenue. Item 5B, O-2025-20, authorizing execution of a permanent utility easement across City Park property at 29151 South Wadsworth Boulevard, Lakewood, Colorado, to Public Service Company of Colorado for an underground electrical vault and related facilities. Item 5C, O-2025-21, authorizing execution of a permanent utility easement across City Park property at 9351 West Jewel Avenue, Lakewood, Colorado, to Public Service Company of Colorado for an electrical service and related facilities. Item 6A, R 2025-29, adopting the 2025 Lakewood Bicycle Plan. 6B, R 2025-30, approving an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Lakewood and the Board of Water Commissioners of the City and County of Denver, DBA Denver Water, for lead service line replacements. R 2025-31, approving an intergovernmental agreement with the Urban Drainage and Flood Control District, DBA Mile High Flood District, the City and County of Denver, and the City of Aurora for wet weather monitoring and other stormwater quality permit activities. R 2025-32, approving an intergovernmental agreement with the Colorado Department of Transportation regarding the City of Lakewood's operation and maintenance of traffic signals, intersection markings, and traffic control devices on state highways within the City of Lakewood. R 2025-33, appointing a member of the Victim Assistance Compensation Board. R 2025-34, appointing members of the Lakewood Planning Commission. R 2025-35, approving an intergovernmental agreement with Arvada, Edgewater, Golden, Lakewood, and Wheat Ridge, establishing and continuing the Records Management System Consortium. And item 7A, approving City Council minutes of February 10th, February 24th, March 24th, April 14th, and April 28th of 2025.
Thank you. And I do have one sign up here for public comment on the consent agenda. Mr. Bruce, if you'd like to make your way forward. And we'll open the floor if anyone else would like to speak on the consent agenda.
Hopefully I'm allowed to have props up here.
I think so.
Hi, my name is Brad Bruce. I live in Ward 2, and I'm here to speak on Resolution R-2025-29, adopting the 2025 Lakewood Bicycle Plan. I made sure to ride my bike to this meeting this evening from Ward 2 so that I could show the council the kinds of things that our ineffective bicycle infrastructure forces riders to do to protect themselves. I'm wearing my high visibility construction vest and a rear view mirror on my helmet, and I don't just do it to look stylish, even though it obviously is. These along with front and rear bicycle lights are the minimum safety items that I recommend to anyone who tells me they want to ride their bicycle in Lakewood. I wear these things because I have to avoid being killed by inattentive drivers and overtly hostile car infrastructure. And I have heard from many of my friends and neighbors that they would love to ride their bike more, but they simply don't feel safe. When I first heard about this plan, I was so happy that the city was finally thinking about non-car riders for once, but the devil is unfortunately always in the details. This plan implements absolutely no funding sources and no deadlines to complete the proposed improvements. I'm no policy expert, but that seems highly unusual for a public infrastructure project to me. For example, I do not believe that this council would have ever approved the West Colfax Safety Improvement Project without a budget and deadline provided beforehand. I have come to the unfortunate conclusion that this bicycle plan is simply a way to pay lip service to the safety of bicyclists without actually having to put your money where your mouth is. This seems like another example of the city not caring about the needs and interests of anyone who doesn't own a car, just like when it snows and only the roads are plowed by the city, but not the sidewalks or bicycle lanes. While I am completely in favor of the goals of the proposed bicycle plan, approving this plan without amendments to fund it and apply a deadline would be greenwashing and would simply result in no changes to the city's addiction on sprawling car infrastructure. And I really don't have to look very far to prove that point. The 2025 bicycle plan makes explicit mention that the city has had a bicycle infrastructure plan in place since 1975. In those 50 years, the city has installed, I don't know the exact number, 2 maybe sections of protected bike lanes in the whole city. And obviously the paint lines are excellent, but they're not necessarily infrastructure, and they do nothing for the safety of bike riders. Again, I am not a policy expert, but the amount of improvements made over the last 50 years seem like a complete and overt failure to me. Do not repeat the mistakes of the past and force the city to be addicted to cars for another 50 years. Please consider pulling this resolution from the consent agenda, making modifications to add mandatory deadlines and funding sources. Thank you so much. That is it.
Thank you. All right, and with that, we'll go ahead and close public comment. May I please have a motion for the consent agenda?
Mayor Strom, I move for the approval of the City Council minutes, order all ordinances introduced on the first reading to be published in the Denver Post with public hearings set for the date included in the ordinance, and for adoption of resolutions, all of which are included in the consent agenda items introduced into the record by the city clerk.
Second.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second. And just a quick note for our community members that are joining in, especially those that may be joining in as a new engaged community member. One of the things that does get a little bit confusing on our consent agenda is we are doing first reading of our ordinances tonight. We won't have a discussion about those. That's purely making, voting to make sure that we're putting it public out there so that the community knows when we'll be having that vote and that conversation in a future meeting. So with that, what I would do is open it up to City Council. If Council has any comments, questions, thoughts, concerns, we do have a number of staff members that are here to answer questions on any of the resolutions this evening. And I'll also take a second to point out to the community on lakewoodspeaks.org, that is more than just a public forum to take public comment. There are presentations on several of these items available on Lakewood Speaks in video form. So if you want to learn a little bit more information, there are staff memos in addition to some other background information as well. So before we cast a vote, Council, do we have any questions or comments about any of the items on the consent agenda? Councillor I. Cruz.
Thank you. I would be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to celebrate the bike plan. Similar to other folks in Chambers, I did take this opportunity to bike here. And while there remain gaps that do continue to make biking challenging in our city, I think that the improvements identified in this plan through the hard work of Ms. Jenny Gritton and so many people in the community that have worked on this plan, it does give us a path forward and a look at what implementing some of those can be to be able to plan for some of the budget pieces. And I know that I am committed, and many of us on council are committed to funding these as we can. And I know staff are looking for those opportunities as well. And so I look forward to a future in which more people feel comfortable riding on their bike, but really do appreciate the investment in pushing that forward, and for all the community members that were a part of it. So thank you.
Okay, and I see no more hands up. Go ahead and cast your votes. All right, and the consent agenda passes 10 yeses and 0 noes. Before we move on from this topic, I'd like to hand the floor over to Mayor Pro Tem Sharizai to speak on the appointments, a couple of different appointments that we had in the consent agenda this evening.
Yes, thanks so much, Mayor. As always, a lot of gratitude for all of the community members that step up and interview for our boards and commissions. And we wanted to welcome Devaney Braley for joining the Victim Assistance Board from the Lakewood Police Department as their representative. And then welcome Dr. Elizabeth Molinar and Brian Holman as our new planning commissioners at large. So appreciate all of their work and willingness to dive in further, and looking forward to working with them more.
All right, thank you. And with that, we do not have any ordinances on second reading this evening, so we'll move forward to our second round of general public comment. And I have one speaker signed up to speak this evening, and that is Catherine Thatch, I believe. One thing I was remiss in mentioning earlier, if you'll come up, state your name and your address or your name and ward, and we'll get your 3 minutes started.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what my ward is, but my address, my name is Catherine Thatch. I'm at 1601 South Queen Street, Lakewood, 80232. So I think it's 3 or 4?
Maybe 3.
Ward 3.
We have a fabulous
We're agreeing
website
now.
we can help
I'm
you out
right.
with later. If you Google Lakewood neighborhood,
Okay.
my neighborhood.
Good.
Yep.
Wonderful. So I'm not really new to Lakewood City Council. I'm just 25 years later. I was here 25 years ago to advocate on behalf of I know it's sort of controversial, but at the time Lakewood was wanting to exterminate a bunch of prairie dogs on parkland, and we went through a whole big thing with that. And I think that the Lakewood Parks Department has developed a plan to do mitigation or management in a more humane way. But the reason I'm coming back is that I just want to advocate for the Belmar Park folks. Save Belmar Park. You know, nothing is certain except death. And so if there's any way to mitigate the plan, make it more environmentally friendly, have better buffer zones, I really request that you guys look into that. It's important to me. I've lived in Lakewood since 1993, and one of the reasons I like Lakewood is because it's beautiful. A lot of parks, a lot of open space, and I hope we continue to preserve that even when we fighting our development or our financial challenges, our development challenges, affordable housing, everything, because it's important. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and we will go ahead and close our second portion of general public comment for the evening. And that brings us to our city council reports. Do we have an executive report? No, okay, city council reports. And tonight we will begin with Ward 1.
Well, we had a wonderful ward meeting on Saturday, very well attended. We appreciate Gary Harty speaking, and it was almost as if we planned that, hey, we're saying yes, the bicycle plan, and he's quite the bicyclist, and so it was almost like we were brilliant, but yeah, maybe we were. So anyway, he presented really good things about his cycling without age, and then his endeavor to work hard to get to probably to get the prize for the mayor's park challenge too, because he's hitting those parks really hard, and so try to give him a run for his money. So it was a really good ward meeting, a lot of vibrant things going on in the city on Saturday, and I'll turn it over to my co-counselor next.
Thank you. Great ward meeting. We are taking July off, but I wanted to talk about something different. I wanted to just take a minute and a point of privilege and recognize that as we celebrate Pride Month and we honor the legacy of the activists who sparked the LGBTQ plus movement for rights, we recognize that the progress made and the work still ahead to ensure equality, dignity, and safety for all. I'm a little upset and shaken, and I know many in our community are, just at how heartbreaking it is this evening to have a Pride proclamation and recognize and celebrate resilience and love at the same time that many in our community are coming together to mourn the death of Jack Scratton, a transgender woman who went missing from Denver in April and whose remains were found in Lakewood over the weekend. I just wanted to take this moment to extend my condolences and heartfelt support for the family and community in the wake of this senseless violence, and a commitment to ensure that Lakewood stands with others across our state who know that we need to do better. So thank you.
Word 2.
I'm going to start with logistics, and then I have similar comments. So our Ward 2 meeting this last Saturday, unfortunately I had to attend virtually because I had strep. But my wonderful co-counselor carried me around in a very busy room on the Zoom, and we had a really great turnout and a lot of excellent discussion and debate and input on where our zoning code is at right now. And I just wanted to make sure that folks know that the zoning code where we're at is that we're going to get a next version that has the amendments that the Planning Commission and that City Council worked on over the last several months with the guidance and input of community, and that we are definitely still in a position to be hearing from you. We will have this go into our second hearing later in the summer in August. And so we have time, if there are particular items of concern, still to really discuss and hear folks out. It's still in process in a real and genuine way. And so I wanted to flag that ward meeting was, I think, a great step in our district, but we're going to be doing more on just making sure that we're taking the time to really be hearing from folks, since this next round of possible adjustments would be coming from council specifically. I also want to talk about our Pride Proclamation and the mourning of Jack's, and to also extend my condolences and my sadness and my hurt and anger. And I got to be on this council for our first Pride Proclamation. It wasn't very long ago. And to my knowledge, I was the first out member of the LGBTQ person to ever sit on this bench. And I am now joined by several. And I know that representation in local government can sometimes feel like just like positioning or empty, but it is really critical, because the way that we're able to talk about this in our community here from this bench with an understanding of an authenticity of activists, of allies, but also of members of this community that are both celebrating and now mourning is real, and it's important. And we are doing our best to create a safer city and a more inclusive city at a time when there's a lot of places that aren't feeling that way. And so I want to really thank our broader community in our city and all of the people who serve on this bench with me for being aligned in those values about humanity and dignity and equity. It's incredible to work alongside you all. And I'll pass it to my colleague.
Thank you for those beautiful words and for all of your work on the Pride Proclamation over the years. And also thank you to the Mayor Pro Tem for your beautiful words too. Thank you. I'll just plug a couple of logistical things and then maybe turn back to just some more somber topics. I wanted to just take a moment to celebrate Festival Flamboyant that happened in Ward 2 yesterday. It was a Puerto Rican cultural festival that featured everything from food to art to ending the night with a very spiritual kind of return to thinking about some of the indigenous and other kinds of practices in Puerto Rico. And for me, personally, as a person with Puerto Rican heritage, as a Boricua, it meant a lot to me to have that in my district. And I saw how much it meant to a lot of other folks in the diaspora, some of whom came from Utah to attend. So it was a beautiful day, and I'm really grateful to John Marcantoni and the Three Leeches folks, as well as 40 West, and to Lakewood Economic Development, who sponsored the festival for what that meant. I think having broad representation of Caribbean and broader Latino cultures means a lot to those of us in the community. So thank you for everybody who showed up. And if you haven't heard of Flamboyant yet, check out flamboyanttheater.com. They do a lot of great stuff. And tomorrow at O'Kane Park, there will be the Take on Toxics tour with Green Latinos from 5 to 8 p.m. There will be a taco truck and conversation about how to get involved with environmental and sustainable activism in Lakewood. So check that out. It'll be awesome. And the Two Creeks Neighborhood Association meeting will be tomorrow too, so it's a fun time. I wanted to kind of speak briefly to two topics. I think it was mentioned in public comment as well, but my heart really is with our neighbors in Chicago and in LA who are experiencing pretty extreme encroachment from the federal level and violence in terms of stripping people from communities through ICE, and I think that that's really difficult to watch, and it's not hard to believe that is continuing to come towards us as ICE activity ramps up. And so I wanted to read what the hotline is for anybody who is observing ICE activity. It's the Colorado Rapid Response Network. Their number is 1-844-864-8341 for anybody who is interested in reporting that activity. I also just wanted to briefly speak to Jack Scritone and honor her memory. Pride is a time of joy and community, but as the Mayor Pro Tem stated, it started as a riot, sparked by two trans women, Sylvia Rivera and Marsha P. Johnson, and it is not lost on me that, I think there are lots of challenges facing many folks, fellow folks in the LGBTQIA community, but our trans folks have continued to face increased barriers and violence because of forces and because of hateful rhetoric that is unfortunately only growing and has real impacts on folks' lives and folks' ability to feel belonging. And so I just wanted to say how deeply I love all of the trans folks in our community, my trans siblings, so many of my friends who identify as such. We see you, we love you, and that matters. I wanted to, for Jax, who's not somebody I got to know, but I know people who did get to experience her light, I wanted to read a quote that her mother provided in a statement at a press conference today. Today we speak the name of a daughter, a friend, and a beautiful human being who should still be here. Jax Scritone. She was bold, she was loud, she was full of life, creativity, and love. She dreamed of adventures, of making art that helped people see the beauty in life. She wanted what every person deserves, a chance to live safely and fully as herself. But the world around her made that feel like too much to ask. She was trans, and she was terrified. Not because of who she was, but because of what the world is becoming. That was from her mother. If you aren't already, please support organizations that support our trans neighbors, including One Colorado, the Transcontinental Pipeline, and others. So thank you.
Ward 3.
Thank you. Wow. Yeah, wow. I'll start off by just saying, as a member of the LGBTQ plus community, I want to speak to those here, as well as those who are listening now and later. Your voice is desired. Your presence is welcomed. As I mentioned again, being part of that community, sometimes it doesn't always feel that way. But please know that you do have a council and you have a city that supports you and wants to encourage your involvement and participation on a civil level. When it comes down to Ward 3 updates, we had a meet and greet for our June meeting at Old 121 last Tuesday. I want to thank everybody who showed up. I also want to thank you for engaging. It was a great time. I would encourage my co-councilors from other wards to maybe participate in a meet and greet. It not only allowed our constituents an opportunity to get to know us as councilors, but it also allowed Ward 3 constituents to meet their neighbors and engage on that level. I know my co-councilor, Roger Lowe, will probably give some more updates about July, but one thing I also want to take the time to do is thank all of you who have come to the listening tour throughout Ward 3. This is something that I really enjoyed putting together to listen and meet my constituents in Ward 3. There are multiple dates still coming down the pipeline, so if this is something you're interested in to engage and learn more about myself, but also listen and hear from you, you can email me at kcruz@lakewood.org. Yeah, I'll go ahead and hand it over to my co-councilor, Roger Lowe.
Thanks, Councilor Cruz. I think the folks who've already spoken have really covered much of what I wanted to say. I echo what Councilor K. Cruz just said. I thought our meet and greet was a lot of great conversations. Thanks everyone who showed up. Thanks to Old 121 for hosting us. I think Councilor Cruz and I agree we're going to do that again and have more of those because we had a lot of good conversations and appreciated the chance to just have a lot of good one-on-one conversations with a lot of Ward 3 constituents. We don't have our next ward meeting scheduled just yet, but look for more updates on that soon. I'm sure we'll get another one on the books in the next month or so stay tuned. I'm sure we'll have more updates on that by our next city council meeting in July. I just wanted to briefly thank West Metro Fire and the city of Lakewood. My better half, my husband, I have to confess, dragged me to an all-day first aid class, not last weekend, but the weekend before. But it was great. We did 8 hours of CPR and training and all kinds of first aid trainings at the West Metro Firefighter Training Center. A lot of staff and volunteers were there, spent the entire day with us training, and those are available to folks in the community. So wanted to give a shout out to West Metro and the city for sponsoring these. And if anyone's curious how to sign up for those, my understanding is they do these regularly. So consider signing up for that. The Big Belmar Bash in Ward 3 in Belmar is coming up on July 3rd, 5 to 10. Lots of live music and food and dancing, and of course our drone show, our fire safe drone show will be that evening. So I will be there. I hope to see you all there. Look forward to that. As has Councilor Matt Guerrero, but just second what she already said about the zoning updates. As a reminder to the community, that's ongoing. We've been having many meetings. The Planning Commission has met a number of times. City Council has met a number of times. We're going to have more meetings. You can go to lakewoodtogether.org/zoning updates, lakewoodtogether.org/zoning updates to follow along and see the latest. My understanding is the updated draft will be posted shortly. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, input on the zoning update, feel free to reach out to me, and I'm sure that applies to everyone on council with your thoughts. Certainly if you're a Ward 3 resident in particular, I would love to hear what you have to think, and if you have any questions, reach out anytime, rlow@lakewood.org. And last, I'm traveling for a few days. I was sad to miss Pride. I appreciate Councilor Matt Guerrero and others for making sure we get the Pride Proclamation on the agenda every year. I am also joined the robust LGBTQ plus contingent on council. My husband and I appreciate that the Pride Proclamation gets read every year. I'm not going to be able to be as eloquent as the councilors who already spoke about Jax. I'm not going to try, but I'll just say it does hit hard for the reasons that have already been articulated. And I mourn Jax, and I'm grateful to the other councilors for mentioning it tonight. And I hope that her family can get some peace and comfort in the coming months after this terrible tragedy in Lakewood. So it's certainly a dark note in terms of the night that we're doing Pride Proclamation. But I'm very grateful to our co-counselors for getting the proclamation on the agenda and for mentioning this. It's a hard time to be trans in America, and I'm glad that we're saying something about that tonight. Thanks.
Ward 4.
Well, I don't intend to add, but I do want to say that I admire and support the words of my fellow council members, because it was, I can't do it anywhere near the justice you have. So this past week I had an opportunity to meet with the Green Mountain Civic Association. It was a small group, but it was a good opportunity to begin to hear some concerns and give a bit of an update. Along those lines, one thing that was asked about was our next ward meeting. I will say that we are close. I'll leave it to Councilor Ryan to say more, but we were close to getting it set up. We were trying to get it scheduled in such a way as to have police presence to be able to talk about some of the concerns from our last ward meeting. I also want to join one other comment that has been made by a couple of council members, which is about the zoning updates. I highly recommend, especially those people who've taken the opportunity to comment on Lakewood Speaks about their concerns, to take a look, especially around the items they're most concerned with. Because I'll note, as I've read all the comments, some of the concerns have been addressed in the changes in the updates. Some have not yet. Please keep commenting and keep coming to the council to speak. This is the time to do it, and the zoning ordinance is probably the most impactful time when it comes to determining what your neighborhoods will be like, what the city will be like. So I highly recommend it, and I appreciate all the comments. I will say I did get to go to the Rocking Block Party on Saturday and saw Councilor K. Cruz there. I'm sure there were others, but and so I again thank the city for their opportunity and free concert. So thank you.
Ward 5. Oh, sorry. Councilor Ryan, then Ward 5.
That was a teaser for Ward 5. So there's not much I can say that, and certainly can't say it any better than a number of other councilors. We are building an inclusive community. That's one of the things that people see as they drive into the city. They're not just words. And I think for those who have been listening to the comments that have been made, I hope you realize that we mean those heartfelt, and that we intend to take action as much as we can to build an inclusive community. In terms of the Ward 4 meeting, we're waiting for our speaker to confirm some dates, and then we'll get back to you, but that should be coming out shortly. On the zoning, I know there's been a lot of frustration in the perception that this is moving too fast and that people are not able to have full input. The comments that Mayor Sofia Macareo mentioned, that this is not a done deal. So we can still make changes, but we need to hear your voices. And so let us hear your voices. Let us know what your concerns are, what are some of the good things, what are some of the bad things that you're seeing. And I know it's difficult when we can't show you what the actual draft is because it's been a moving target, but most of the things that we have in place haven't changed. So take a look at what is available online, and you'll have 95% of what it is that's being considered right now. So I understand the perception, I understand the frustration, but don't just give up. Let's hear your voices.
Ward 5.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to add, I appreciate the fact that there is a proclamation read for Pride Month every year on this council, and thank you, Councilor Maya Guerrero, for initiating that back in the day, not long ago. I wish that was a standard practice for other cities in Colorado. Unfortunately, it is not. And it feels like as much progress has been made, it's in the process of being torn down, and it's extremely frustrating. You know, that in light of the human rights and civil rights abuses that are going on in our country right now, I think the important thing is to remain positive that there are people out there that are fighting what's going on, and we need to continue to do so. It's bad enough that the National Guard was called in to LA and other cities, but to throw Marines in the mix, and as a former Marine, I can tell you that is an unlawful order, and there's a lot of Marines right now that are probably wondering what they can do and whether they should follow the orders and maintain their position that they volunteered to take on, or whether they should become conscientious objectors. So I think it's important to look at the big picture here of what people are experiencing, the cruelty and the manipulation of our laws. But you have to try to remain as positive as possible and keep moving forward and calling out things that are wrong. On a lighter note, we have our ward meeting this Saturday at Westwood's Church at 9 a.m., and there will be donuts, because I'm going to assign that to Jacob, Councilor LeBure, since he's not here. So I would encourage neighborhoods and communities to consider either an Adopt a Street initiative or go out and just with your neighbors do some spring cleaning. That is something that is always, unfortunately, a reality. Things happen, garbage trucks drop things, and people litter. But in order to make our community as clean as possible and try to mitigate, again, a situation where wildlife is impacted because they're eating trash and something of that nature, you can mitigate some of that. I also want to encourage people to continue to reach out on the zoning changes. I've gotten a lot of feedback, and I've taken good notes. And we will be discussing that some more on Saturday, but participation is encouraged in this effort. Thank you.
We've had several mentions of the zoning code update, so I will not speak much on that, but I will point out that the draft, Councilor Lowe had mentioned, number of meetings happened in Planning Commission, number of meetings happened in City Council, conversations were had, some changes were made, and we do have a draft, an updated draft that will be available very shortly. So for those community members that are already following this or that are interested to follow, now that we're speaking about it this evening, please keep an eye on lakewoodtogether.org with our zoning information. That should be available to you soon. So 'tis the summer of and the season of activity. We've had a number of them noted tonight. I personally wanted to send out big congratulations to a number of organizations that had some very successful events over this last week. Jeffco, West Metro Chamber actually did the Taste of Jeffco last Thursday, and I'm excited to report that we had several Lakewood businesses that won. We had Old 121 won. I'm not going to remember what all of the titles were, but stay tuned, we'll get more information on that. But Old 121 was the recipient of an award, as well as Balmer Peak Distillery and Pantera, which is the new Mexican restaurant that is at Colorado Mills. Obviously, there's a reason they won. So I encourage everyone to go check out Pantera. And if you like horchata, it's amazing. And flan, too. So Pantera is a one to check out. And then also one of our Lakewood favorite jewels, 240 Union, was the recipient of awards. So that was exciting. And congratulations to all of our businesses and to the Chamber for putting on a very successful event this past weekend, or this past week. Then also, I was very excited to also attend the Festival Flamboyant. It was so much fun to learn more about the theater, learn more about the culture, and very much appreciated the invitation to come join you all. And after that, I had the opportunity to actually attend an event over here at the Lakewood Cultural Center, the Moksha Academy of Odissi Dance, which is Indian dance, and it was a program that was merged with some laser lights, and it was a wonderful opportunity to learn more about the Indian culture and their dance. So congratulations to the Moksha Academy of Odyssey Dance for your very well-attended event this past weekend. Couple more notes. It also on that vein of it is summertime, it's time to do activities and get out. This is also the time that you would like to register for National Night Out. If you are a neighborhood or a host that would like to participate in that, I would encourage you to go ahead and get in on that process, and you can register your block party. Make sure that you do it early, so we've got plenty of resources available to you. And then also, if you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to your city councilors or myself. I love the month of August. It's a really fun time to be able to get out and see lots of community in driveways. So if you're hosting a party, don't hesitate to reach out to any of us. It's a really great opportunity for us to meet you where you are and to learn more about what your concerns, thoughts, and desires are for a community. And then in closing, another opportunity to share with us your concerns, wants, and desires for our community. We do have our 2025 community survey is open and available for all to take. So every 3 years, we do a survey to really capture what it is that Lakewood wants, what Lakewood's doing, so that we can better understand as we're moving forward where you guys would like the dial to be. So that is something that we have actively been in the process for the last few weeks, and it is now open and available for everybody to join in. Do you know, Ms. Hudson, is it on lakewoodtogether.org? Lakewood.org, okay. Lakewood.org for that community survey. I would encourage everybody to go in and spend a few minutes to let us know what you think, so that we can be mindful of that as we're moving forward, as we're moving into, next year's strategic planning and voting on zoning codes and things like that. It's really important that we hear from you. So wanted to put that out there. Do we know how long it will be open? At least through the end of June. So we've got a little bit of time, but not a lot of time, because that goes quick. So if you're wanting to share your opinion, I would ask that you go ahead and do that with us shortly so you don't forget, and then we lose the opportunity. And that is all of our reports that we have for tonight. So there being no further business to come before.
Reminder that next week is the tour of the new JeffCom Center. They moved. They're closer to the fairgrounds now, and we will meet there at 6 o'clock. You're encouraged to carpool if you can. So thank you.
Thank you. There being no further business to come before the City Council tonight, I adjourn this meeting at 8:29 p.m.